Just a quick little demo for my buddy Shane, who had some questions about what I've been up to lately. So this is the new amplifier that I just recently purchased. It is the Boss Katana MK2. This is the Artist Edition. The one that I originally had, that I'd been using for 2 years, was the Boss Katana MK2 50 watt, which is kind of the entry level version of this amp. It has an inferior speaker. It obviously goes a lot, it doesn't go as loud, which wasn't my main issue with that amp. The only problem that I really had with that amp was that it didn't have an effects loop. So basically what an effects loop does is it allows you to wire a pedal of some sort prior to the preamp, so that if you have effects that are coming from the amp, those effects don't get stuck in the loop channel or in the effects loop. It's a little complicated to explain it, but essentially when you use a looper pedal, you're basically creating a rhythm that you want to play over, and that rhythm will go over and over and over on itself, right? So it allows you to play over it. And I'll demonstrate how a looper works in a second. But what happens is if you change the effects that you're playing your guitar on, those effects will follow the loop if you do not have an effects loop. If you do have an effects loop, then whatever you're playing when you record the loop will stay with the loop, but any changes that you make after the fact will not follow. All right? So either way, this is the new amp. That's my guitar. This is a volume / expression pedal. This here allows me to change through my presets. I can change up to 8 presets, and I'll explain what presets are. And then this is my tuner pedal. All right, so what we're looking at here is my new looper pedal. So essentially, it's kind of a neat looper because it doesn't just do loops. It also has a bunch of drum beats in it. So you can create like little songs. And I'll show you kind of an idea of one of the things. I don't know if the tempo will be right, but let's see what happens. So that's a loop that I created the other day. Let me go back here, and then let me see if this one works as well. All right. So that one's kind of messed up because I have to match the tempo of the loop that I created with the drums. So I recorded that, and I didn't record the tempo number, so that, you know, that one's toast. It's not a big deal. We'll clear that one out. But if I pop in here, if I go to the right side, this is where all the different drum beats are at. So I'll just play one here. This one's called pop. That's the volume, and then that's the tempo of 80, right? So if I press this, you'll hear that start playing, and I could change to pop 2, and you'll hear like so there's no snare drum on that one. Pop 3, now you have some toms there, and you can hear the snare in the background or the cymbals. And that one's pretty basic, but I've got what is that, 10 pop, what is that, 10 rock. I have some metal ones. I'm gonna change that to something like disco. So either way, you could pick something on here. Alright, and then I should have some blues. Some 4/4. Let me see what that sounds like. Alright. So we got that. And then I'll go over here to memory and I'll pick an empty slot. And then this button right here gives you a count in, right? Which is kind of neat. And then I'll display that, but I'm not on my guitar yet. I'll go ahead and do that in a minute. But if I hit this button to record, it does a count in. Boom, 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 boom. And then I'm supposed to record my part there. So I'm gonna stop that. So delete that. All right. So let's do some looping. All right, so really quick before I start looping, just to kind of give you an idea of what the amp can do, right? Right now I have a dry signal, meaning there's absolutely nothing. I have no reverb, no delays, no distortion, no nothing. And this is what the guitar sounds like, right? So something simple. So that's a dry signal. And then I can add effects manually if I wanted to. So for instance, if I wanted to add a little bit of reverb. You hear that? I don't know how much of that you'll be able to hear through the microphone, but turn off the reverb. Turn on the reverb. So it kind of gives you that feeling, right? That you're kind of in like an open hall or some space or whatever. And each one of these effects, you'll notice, has this little button up here on the top. And if you tap on that button, it'll give you a slightly different flavor of that reverb. This is a spring reverb. This is a regular hall reverb, right? And then you have stuff like delay. So I'll turn that up. Now listen to this. All right, so it's, you know, pretty self-explanatory. And then you have effects, and I'm not sure exactly what the built-in effects are, but we'll see. That's some kind of wah pedal. All right. But getting out of all that, right? You see this pedal here, I have some pre-programmed effects, right? So essentially, if I wanted a guitar to sound like a particular song or whatever, I can go online and I can find a patch for that particular song, and I can plug it into my amp to make it sound that way. So just to kind of give you an example, I have 8 that are pre-programmed, so I'll pop in this first one, and I can tell it has a lot of distortion already, but so yeah, and then I've got more of a chorus sound. So that's what that does. All right, so I've got this beat playing, and I'm gonna show you more or less what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna do a simple chord progression, just so that I can practice my scales, practice some melodies, practice soloing over that chord progression, right? So this is the beat here, right? And I'm gonna do something like this. Alright? Something like that, right? It's not a big deal, right? So what I'll do is I will tap on this guy. It's gonna count me in, and then I'm gonna start my progression. And then once I've got enough of it, I'll hit this button to stop it, and then you'll hear it loop over itself. All right? So now that's playing on its own. The guitar's not doing anything anymore. For lead, I'll change. Anyways, that's basically it, dude. Since I got the new amp, I've gotten better just by experimenting and playing around with stuff. It makes practice fun, essentially. Instead of playing to a metronome or nothing at all, now I can create my own like little mini jams and kind of just mess around with them. Anyways, that's it.